Hi everyone. I hope you've all had a good start of the year. This is Wendy, and I just wanted to share something with you guys that I thought of today with regards to mindfulness, actually, in the course that I have made available for you guys. Two of my friends recently used the words strong woman to define me, and they just said, wow, you're a strong woman, in the span of a few days. So it kind of struck me, and what really struck me, not so much those words, but my reaction to them. I had this kind of mixed emotions. It was actually uncomfortable, and so as we practice mindfulness, we pay attention to how our body starts to react. And I was really surprised that it's nice for someone to say that, right? If you wouldn't want to be called weak, like you're a weak person, that wouldn't feel so nice. Of course, when we're advanced practitioners of mindfulness, whatever someone else tells you, whether it's a compliment or an insult, kind of remain. You have that open space that allows for non-reactivity. You don't get hooked on the flattery. You don't get hurt by the criticism. You just accept it, or think that person or not. There's no judgment there. So why was I reacting so vividly to these two words, strong woman? And I just came from work. I work at my healing center, and it dawned on me. I had this kind of a flashback of when I had just given birth to my daughter. I'm actually in her room right now, so hi, Sarah. And I had wanted to give birth in the Philippines, but things didn't work out that way, and I wanted to be surrounded by family, and I ended up giving birth in near the border, the French border to Switzerland. And when my daughter was a baby, we actually had to move during that time. So actually, looking back, that's quite stressful. Moving with an infant child, right, from our apartment in Geneva to we moved to a bigger place in a small village in France. And during that time, I was by myself. My daughter's father was working in Geneva, and so I was spent a lot of time with this infant child. I was 28 I was 28. I had no idea really what to do with her. I did my best. I loved her very, very much, but I also was crying a lot and constantly exhausted. And after a couple months, I consulted a doctor, and the doctor, a medical doctor, told me, yeah, you're not supposed to feel this way, or you shouldn't be feeling this way. Crying every day, feeling kind of hopeless. And so at that time, I was very disconnected with my intuition, with myself. I was like, I was so used to powering through any difficult situation. Is that a word? Yeah, powering through like a bulldozer, like a strong woman. Yeah, I could handle anything. I could take on anything. I could take on this newborn baby in the middle of nowhere with no family support. Like, I have to do it, like I'm a mom now, right? So that's one thing. Doctor put me on Zoloft, because he didn't think Xanax was a good idea, because I also had anger issues at the time. So, I was 28. This was 16 years ago. My daughter's 16. Yeah, that makes sense. And so I was on Zoloft for 3 months. I gave myself 3 months. I didn't want to go beyond that. And yeah, the medication actually helped me. So I'm not. A lot of people know I'm anti overly taking medication as a cover up, right? But that helped me. So, if you have postpartum, just go for it. And you don't have access to these other methods that I now not only have access to, but I also teach. Yeah, yeah, no judgment, right? So, what was yeah? So that, and then I was also trying to find a psychologist, like some sort of help because I wasn't feeling so well in my head. I wasn't feeling so happy, good about myself in my head as a young mom. Um, so yeah, postpartum, right? And I remember one of the doctors saying, asking me about my life, and I was like, yeah. So I lived in Paris, and I lived in New York, and in Manila, and then she was like, well, isn't it difficult for you to be here in this small town? Like, you don't have friends, you don't have family. And I was just like, uh, I'm good. I have internet. I had internet, right? I had internet. Not that old. I was like, no, I'm fine. She's like, well, the internet is not. That's not a real. It's not real relationship. It's not the same as having your mom there, right, to help you with the baby. And I hadn't questioned any of that at the time. I just assumed that I had to do this, and I was a strong woman. Like, I'd been told that before. I'm strong-willed. I knew, I left home when I was 17 because I felt like I wasn't treated correctly. I wasn't respected in the home area. So that I think that's really the source of this mixed feelings towards those two words. There's a moment where you don't have to be strong anymore. And what's important to me is really about its authenticity. It's listening to yourself. It's honoring your needs, which I didn't do at the time because I didn't know I was allowed to do that. Yeah, I was just told to be to be strong, or identified with that because I thought it was such a wow, I'm strong. I can take anything on, but really I couldn't. I was suffering, I was sick. So now I I honor myself enough to not get to that point. And okay, so that's also a form of strength. Not so those are different for me. Those are different definitions of being strong, and being strong with discernment and self-compassion is different than being strong with just maybe ego or what was it? Just naivete. Yeah, lack of self love, lack of it connection to your inner being. So yeah, for all you young moms out there, be mindful of your own needs. That's just what I have to say, and I wanted to share. And yeah, there are tools that are available to you, which I wasn't aware of at the time. And yeah, mindfulness is an awesome one. Obviously, energy healing, um, yoga, all this stuff. Yeah, so reach out, ask for help, accept help. Yeah, you don't have to be strong all the time. All right, thank you guys.